Hey everyone, this is Tony, Tainted Lord A7, and here's part 7 of my CD collection. So let's go straight to it. The first CD I'm going to show off is A Pale Horse Named Death, Lay My Soul to Waste. If you're into some good gothic doom metal, I really suggest checking out A Pale Horse Named Death and the album Lay My Soul to Waste. It features a former member of Typo Negative, and like I said, it's some really good gothic doom metal if you're into that. So definitely check this band out. Next up is Alexisonfire. Watch out. Yeah, Alexisonfire is like one of those screamo emo bands that I used to like heard about back in like high school, and Watch Out is their second full length album. And yes, kind of what you expect from a emo, screamo kind of rock band. It's okay. It's decent. I enjoy it. Kind of reminds me of high school. So yeah, Alexis on Fire. Watch out. Next up is a French band that I'm going to try and pronounce, and that's Deja Mort. La Mort dans la main. I don't know. I'm I'm not very good at French, but I guess you could call this band kind of like a hardcore metalcore band. If you're into like some really aggressive hardcore metalcore with shouty vocals, I definitely recommend check out Deja Mort in the album La Mort dans la Main. Again, sorry if I butchered the name or the title, but definitely a pretty good band if you're into hardcore metalcore with some very shouty vocals. Next up is Forbidden Distortion. Yeah, Forbidden's Distortion. A really underrated, underappreciated thrash metal, groove metal, heavy metal album combined into one on this album. This is an album that a lot of Forbidden fans don't seem to talk about or mention, but it's pretty solid. Like I said, it's a mix between thrash metal, groove metal, and heavy metal, and it's really underrated. And I don't see why this album doesn't get talked about enough, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, Forbidden Distortion. Next up is Agalok, the Serpent the Spiel. A really, really excellent album from Agalok if you're into some atmospheric black metal and just like solid atmospheric, heavy, but not too heavy kind of music. Not 100% sure how accurate I am, but that's how I felt when I heard this album. But yeah, if you're into some atmospheric black metal, definitely check out Agalok's The Soap and the Spiel. Really good stuff. I enjoy this one. Next up is Skeleton Ridge, Devouring Radiant Light. An awesome, awesome death thrash metal album that actually has some black metal leanings here and there, and it's just a solid album. So yeah, Skeleton Witch, Devouring Radiant Light, a really solid album. Next up is Skeleton Witch, the Apothic Gloom EP. Yeah, another solid EP. It's a solid release and it's just a smaller EP. But if you're into some death thrash or extreme music, definitely check out Skeleton Witch, the Apothic Gloom EP. Pretty good stuff. Next up is Skeleton Witch, Serpents Unleashed, a very solid death thrash sounding album. Really aggressive and heavy and very riff driven. Really solid album from Skeleton Witch. So yeah, Serpents Unleashed. Next up is The Pretty Reckless, Death by Rock and Roll. A very, very good female fronted hard rock, borderline heavy metal band, but it's mostly hard rock with some amazingly good female vocals. So, yeah, The Pretty Reckless, Death by Rock and Roll. Next up is The Pretty Reckless, Light Me Up. Another solid hard rock and roll album from The Pretty Reckless. So yeah, The Pretty Reckless, Light Me Up. Next up is Trivium, In the Court of the Dragon. A very solid heavy metal, thrash metal album with a little bit of metalcore, but not a whole lot. Just a really good heavy metal, thrash metal album through and through. So yeah, Trivium, In the Court of the Dragon, very solid album. Next up is Trivium, The Sin and the Sentence. Another really excellent album from these guys. Yeah, nothing more, nothing less. If you're into heavy metal, thrash metal, and metalcore, this is a good one to check out. So, yeah, Trivium's The Sin and the Sentence. Next up is Trivium, The Crusade. Pretty decent album. Bit of a step down, but it's still a solid album. I really enjoy this one. So yeah, Trivium, The Crusade. Okay, next one is Trivium, What the Dead Men Say. Yeah, What the Dead Men Say by Trivium. Another excellent album from these guys. Really enjoy this one. Next up is Fear Factory, Genexus, an amazingly good groove metal, industrial metal album. And it's a damn good one. Just like I said, a good mix of groove metal and industrial metal and just pure heaviness. So yeah, Fear Factory's Genexus. Fear Factory's Archetype. Really, really, really good industrial metal album. Nothing more, nothing less. Just a really solid album. So yeah, Fear Factory's Archetype. Um, Fear Factory's Digimortal. I think this album gets overhated. I personally think this is a solid industrial metal album. It's not going to beat out the classics, but it's a solid album. Has some really good songs on here, and it gets overhated in my opinion. So yeah, Fear Factory's Digimortal. Fear Factory's Obsolete, which is a superb, excellent industrial metal album. Just really heavy and riff driven and aggressive, and it's just some really good stuff. So yeah, Fear Factory's Obsolete. Next up is Fear Factory's Demanufacture. Just a classic Fear Factory album. I think everyone who knows Fear Factory knows the manufacturer, and it's a flawless album. Just a perfect industrial metal album, in my opinion. So yeah, Fear Factory is the manufacturer. And Fear Factory's Soul of a New Machine, a very solid industrial death metal album. Yeah, this is actually a death metal album with some industrial metal leanings, but it's an awesome, awesome album. But yeah, Fear Factory's Soul of a New Machine. Next up is the self titled album by Bullet for My Valentine. A really, really good metalcore album from these guys. But yeah, Bullet for My Valentine, the self titled album. Okay, next one up is Bullet for My Valentine, Bullet for My Valentine, Fever. Another really good metalcore album from Bullet for My Valentine. Really good stuff. So yeah, Fever by Bullet for My Valentine. And the last one is Bullet for My Valentine, The Poison. I think this is the album that really shot them into mainstream, but for good reason, because this is a really, really good metalcore album. Lots of classic songs on here, a lot of sing along songs, but it's just some really good stuff. So, yeah, Bullet for My Valentine, The Poison. Next up is Kitty, Spit. A really good new metal, modern metal album. And yeah, nothing more, nothing less. Just a really good modern metal, new metal album from Kitty. So yeah, Spit by Kitty. Okay, next up is POD, Murdered Love. Just a really solid album. You know, if you're into some rap, rock, new metal, or something along that line, then definitely check out POD's Murdered Love. It's some pretty good stuff. Next is POD Satellite, which is my favorite POD album. Just a really good blend of rock, rap rock, new metal, and just some really good classic songs on here that just reminds me of my youth. But yeah, POD Satellite, really excellent album. And the last CD I'm going to show off for part 7 is Wise Against, The Sufferer and the Witness. Um this is probably the only Wise Against album that I really truly enjoy. I guess you're into some punk rock, modern rock, alternative rock kind of music. I highly suggest checking out Wise Against in the album The Sufferer and the Witness. I think this is the only good album that I actually enjoy from them. And that's it, everyone. That's part 7 of my CD collection. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for part 8 whenever that happens. See ya.